All right, so we're back here on another Couch Coach Live. Got a special edition, Thursday night edition. Unlike our Wednesday slot, but we back here on Wednesdays. We got special guests in the building. I got Jordan Long. What's going on, Jordan?
Not much, man. I mean, it's a great time to be a football fan. You got the AFC and FC championship games this week. I mean, a chance for somebody to go to the Super Bowl. And I know we'll get to our picks, but I think you know where I'm headed in one game.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's only right if and one of my NFC East brethrens got there, would be the same way. And what's going on, Mal?
I'm chilling, man. Everything. We on Couch Coach Live, Jordan on, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so we got a
Yeah.
great show lined up for you tonight.
I was just
So we
going to
got
say
a
it's
great
always
show.
a good time with you guys.
Right.
Yeah, so we got a great show lined up for you tonight. So what we'll do, we'll talk about. It's funny we thought this, going into this show was gonna be more so like kind of lead off with maybe like the coaching carousel in the NFL, but actually we have a coaching carousel in the NBA. We'll talk about Doc Rivers being hired as the Bucs head coach, and also when that comes to firing Adrian Griffin. We'll also talk about the coaching carousel. So now there's only two openings left, two vacancies left. So we'll talk about that as well. The end of the era. A few weeks ago we talked about the retirement of Nick Saban. But Bill Belichick no longer the Patriots head coach,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're going to talk about another end of an era and in the magazine form, which is Sports Illustrated, a potential ending of Sports Illustrated itself. So we'll talk about that. We'll kind of recap last week's action in the divisional round, just our overall takeaways from last week, and then we'll get you our picks for the NFC and AFC championship game, and we'll round out with our game ball and our final thoughts. So what we're going to do, we'll take a brief, we'll keep the intro real quick, and we'll be right back here on Couch Coach Live. We're back here on Couch Coach Live. We're back at it again on a Thursday night under the lights. This week's Couch Coach Live is powered by SeatGeek. Head over to SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code CouchCoach on your first purchase, $20 off. So let's get going with the show. So we'll talk about Glenn Doc Rivers to kind of lead off our show tonight. So, you think yourself, Doc Rivers, using a fixture on NBA on ESPN broadcast as of the last 3 or 4 months of the NBA season, but that's no longer the longer what's going on there. So Doc Rivers has been hired by the Milwaukee Bucks. He signed a 3.5 year, $40 million deal to coach the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, you think to yourself, don't the Milwaukee Bucks have a head coach? Yes, they had a coach by the name of Adrian Griffin, who was let go on Tuesday. The Milwaukee Bucks are currently, at the time of Adrian Griffin's fire, was 30-13. They were 20th in defense. Doc Rivers comes in here where pretty much essentially to resurrect potentially this defense for this Milwaukee team, quote unquote. So we'll go around the horn, fellas. Your thoughts on Doc Rivers being hired, and then also the firing Adrian Griffin. I'm gonna go with you first, Jordan. What you got?
The thing about Doc Rivers is we know what kind of a regular season coach he is. He's he's won 1,097 games and lost 763. The problem is the playoffs. 19 playoffs appearances, advanced in 2 NBA finals. Of course, we know what he did with Boston, won one and lost one. But he's the coach that has blown 3-1 series leads. the thing I don't understand with Milwaukee, you head about their defense, and that's why Adrian Griffin was let go. But you were 30-13, second in the East. There's 14 or 15 teams that would rather be in your position. I didn't really understand the firing, but then it makes me wonder about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is coach killer? This is the sixth head coach he's had. But for Doc Rivers, it's a pretty good move for the Bucks, especially if you want to win an NBA championship. They felt like Adrian Griffin wasn't going to do that. Question is, can Doc elevate them to that level like Mike Budenholzer did?
Yeah. All right, what you got, Mal? What's your thoughts?
They said he was a consultant, and for what I mean, me personally, and you guys can maybe not. I think Giannis is. I like Giannis, but I think he kind of. I don't know, man. His activity and the way he's becoming with even when his brother's there. Like I know that's his brother, but his brother shouldn't be there. It should be someone else. It just seemed like they're trying everything they can to please their two stars. Right now, no disrespect, it is what it is. The Bucks is who they always have been. Just like the coaching issue, I don't think they should have fired their coach last year, but I'm clearly it must have been like people forgot. I think the coach's a family member passed away. It was a lot of people hurt. It looked like to me they just lost last year and they need to regroup. They got rid of Holiday. It's a lot of things, and to be still number two, and still have the record that they have is great. They got Dame. It's going to take some time for stuff to mush, but to me, I think they had a coach that was not going to back down to them, and they want somebody like. And Doc was a consultant, and this is me. I don't think Doc really wanted to coach, even with Philly. I think Doc wanted to take a break. But when somebody is giving you an opportunity and gonna give you certain things, they was like, okay, because Doc looked like he's a company guy too. Okay, I understand what you guys saying. I'm a name. I'm the fourth winning coach of all time. I haven't had a losing season since '06. I think '06 or '05, something like that. And I'll do it because he didn't seem like he was happy in Philly to me anyway. You know what I mean? Then now he's here. He seemed like he was happy being an analyst, to be honest with you. He seemed like ain't no responsibility. He seemed like he was like, he loved basketball. He seemed like a company guy. So he was a consultant, and then they was like, I'm sure the coach and then whoever else didn't get along, they was like, man, I can't deal with this. Some people say, hey man, I'd rather not be stressed and go. And then they go have a talk with, he was already consulting and say, man, I'll just come in. That's how I take from. I feel like Giannis and a few other people had an issue the way this guy was coaching because he would call them out on their stuff. It seemed, I'm being honest with you. There's evidence that I seen video today, and it's crazy because some people are criticizing Giannis and Dame, but they doing it a specific way, and they kind of calling out this guy's coaching style. But to me, I'm like, it took some time for Boston to adapt to the guy that's in Houston right now. Remember that first year he was there? They had a horrible record until after the All-Star game, and then everything turned up. They went to the finals. You know what I mean? So I really feel like I think both parties probably said, man, this ain't gonna work. Y'all just do what y'all need to do.
And what I've also heard is, like you were saying, I wasn't really listening to the head coach. And apparently, there were some games where he was going to ask to be subbed in, and he just said, "No, I'm not going to." But from my understanding, he said that's not happening. But then again, you're right. He definitely was disinterested with Adrian Griffin.
Right.
Yeah. You just look at it. I mean, he's lost that locker room. I mean, when you look at it, and it's just the business of the NBA, unfortunately. And to me, a lot, like you talked about it, and also Jordan wrote about this as well on sportscoop.com. Checking that out. But little plug for you, Jordan. But anyway.
I
So
it.
I think the thing about it is defense is an effort thing. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like it's one of the things where you just they won't doing it with Adrian Griffin, and that's the thing where, and he's been, as far as defense, you think about he's in that same line, with his pedigree in the NBA. He's been around guys. He's on staffs that were really defensive minded teams, like a Nick, on Nick Nurse staff. He's been, I think he was with I mean he's been around. I just put it that way. That but that's concerned, but. I just think, to me, in my personal opinion, he's lost that locker room early, and it's one of those things where even though, like you said, 30-13, I guarantee you, as a team a little bit up north in Michigan that would love that record, or a little bit down south
Right.
in the district that would have loved to have that type of record. But it's just one of those where, and like you said, the Doc move is kind of interesting. Like we always look at his record in the postseason and what he's going to do with his team, and it's funny because if it gets to a game 7, will he be able to get them over the hump? And that's going to be the biggest question mark. Like now, like you said, I think even with his record, he can carry this team at this point until the stretch to the playoffs. Like you said, Jordan, the biggest thing is going to be him going into the playoffs and what he's going to do. Where you're gonna, so this team that's last defense, like that last defensively, one of the worst teams defensively, they're gonna have to play defense in the postseason, and it's gonna, like I said earlier, it's an effort thing. So can Doc get the best out of these guys effort wise? And who's to say if he will? But we're really gonna find out, because especially how this team is set up, they'll probably be the second or third seed in the Eastern Conference, so they'll be heavily favored in majority of their series. So we're gonna really see what Doc is really back about, and can he bring this team back to to a resurgence? Can they bring them back, not resurgence, but more so back to back to their championship caliber days?
You got something, Jordan? You got something, Jordan?
No, nothing. I agree.
I got something.
No, I don't. I do agree with Couch. I disagree with Couch Coach. I mean, once you get into the playoffs, the intensity heats up. So can Doc get them to play defense?
Yeah.
Right. To me, it's the Bucks' fault. You got rid of a couple years ago, PJ. Was it PJ Tucker?
Yeah.
Who was the guy that went to the Heat? You got rid of him. That was your defensive guy. You got rid of Holiday. That wanted to stay there. That was your glue. You already got a PJ Tucker. He was your glue. Middleton is always hurt. So you think Dame is gonna play better defense than Holiday? Who? And then they got rid of Grayson. You know what I mean? When you sit back and look, I feel like the Bucks have always had these issues. I think all the way to Jason Kidd.
Yeah, but I think and it's really curious what they're gonna do in the trade deadline too. Are they gonna get some pieces to kind of help defensively, like you said? Because that's another one where when Adrian Griffin got hired, Drew Holiday was on his roster. So that's another thing too when you sit back and think about it, as far as
right.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Right.
What they're gonna do trade deadline.
The question becomes though, how happy will Giannis Antetokounmpo is if the only move you make is Damian Lillard?
Man, I get it why they got him, but no disrespect to Dame, you got rid of a defensive guy. I would have got rid of Middleton, to be honest. You kept Holiday and got rid of Middleton. They got another number 2 option. You know what I'm saying? Rather than no disrespect to Dame. Dame is who he is, but come on, man.
Yeah, and that's like you said. It's just one of those where like you said, Dame was gonna. It's almost like Dame is there for the regular season, in my personal opinion, as far as getting themselves together. It's at third, and then also with that in the playoff as well. He hit those big shots, but then like you said, but are y'all gonna play defense? Because you got to play defense. The game gets more condensed in the playoffs, so you got to play defense. Like you said, now, like you said, bringing in that Dame, you see why they're 30-13, because you can win those type of games you can win those games every night. And like you said, there's been struggles with this team the whole entire year, so it's kind of one of those things where it's it's crazy, and I feel really bad for Adrian Griffin, especially for somebody because he isn't that fly by night hire. He's somebody who's been in systems for nearly almost 2 decades, about a decade and a half on guys' staff, and now he had finally had an opportunity to become a head coach. So this is another thing where I hate that you're hoping that he will get another opportunity, consider giving him the benefit of the doubt. Hey, you got fired before the middle of the season. Well, in the middle of the season, and you won 30 or 43 games. So you hopefully that he will get an opportunity, at least the next coaching cycle somewhere, because that's disheartening. Because that's especially somebody who's worked that hard, and we've always been a proponent of guys who put in the work versus the fly by nights. The Steve, not the. I know Steve Nash about to catch a stray, but but Steve, we talked about. I know we talked about on the show like the Steve Nashes of the world, but you got a guy like here, like an Adrian Griffin, who's been around as an assistant for years, for nearly, almost nearly 20 years, about 15, 16 years. He's been on staffs, been in the coaching ranks for a good while.
Bucks got 3 coaches on their payroll right now. Their ex-coach, Adrian Griffin, and now they got Doc.
Yeah. I don't even see how.
It also makes you wonder about. Yeah, it does make you wonder about the front office of the Bucks though, and how they run stuff, because now they're paying 3 coaches.
Yeah. Because if they don't get this right, because you think about it, you signed him to a 3.5-year deal, so you think to yourself, if this don't work between now and 2027, you might have maybe paying 4 coaches. It's gonna get or more, right? Because this 3-year thing may not work either. I mean, we know Doc ain't the consummate, like, he's been here for forever, especially at this point in his career. Like, so we're gonna find out about this Milwaukee Bucks team very, very soon, especially in the spring as the postseason starts. So, fellas, and son, we'll transition now to the real coaching carousel that normally we have this time of year in February, not February, but at the end of January with the NFL coaching carousel. So we had 2. So we came into the cycle. Essentially, we had 7. I guess you'd say 7 vacancies. Now there's only 2 vacancies, and that is the Washington Commanders and the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll talk about Jim Harbaugh. We'll talk about first Jim Harbaugh being hired by the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll go around the horn, just your thoughts on it. This is obviously Jim Harbaugh is the former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines that won the national championship, and also he had a stint with the San Francisco 49ers, 3 NFC championship appearances, and 1 Super Bowl appearance where he lost to his brother. And coincidentally, the last time the Baltimore Ravens was in the Super Bowl is when they, when they beat San Francisco. So, Joy, your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh going to the LA Chargers?
Well, it has to be my division right now. But the thing is if you look at what he's done in Michigan, what else does he have to prove? He's got nothing to prove. He won a national title. I thought he was going to stay just because, you would want another one. But then again, he's been itching to get back to the NFL. The Broncos even interviewed him last year. The thing about Harbaugh is we saw what he did in San Francisco, got him to a NFC title game and actually in the Super Bowl. Can he do that with the LA Chargers? I think he can. I mean, you got Justin Herbert. You've got weapons around. It's just a matter of you need the right coach and the right system. And I think Harbaugh is the right guy there. Unfortunately, I have to see him twice a year.
Yeah, I know, right? What you got, Mal? What's your thoughts?
I guess, I looked up. They offered him an extension, a 10-year extension, Michigan, and he was already making 8.3. The extension, he would have made 11. It was another for 10 years. He'd have made 11.5 or something like that. And he just signed with the Chargers. Was it 5-year deal?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like a 5-year deal. I couldn't find how much. I wanted to see, because I would have said, the NFL, to be honest with you, to me, is more about the players. And if he'd have stayed at Michigan, it'd have been about Michigan and him. You know what I mean? And he already seemed like he got back to changing the culture of Michigan by bringing in some better staff, coaching staff. You know what I mean? So like last week, we spoke about Nick Saban and how the new culture of NCAA football is changing because of Coach Prime. I think Jim he would have still. He was one of those coaches that would have been able to still compete with that new culture. You know what I mean? Um, I think he was. It ain't too many coaches I think in NCAA that still has that, and I think Jim could have done that. But like you said, maybe he got that itch where he wanted to win a Super Bowl. His brother done did it. Once or twice?
One.
Once,
So
I
maybe.
believe.
Yeah, once. Yeah, this
And then as a
might be
league,
two.
oh yeah, it might be two. As a league, I think we have a lot of good quarterbacks, and the Chargers quarterback is a great quarterback, but people aren't really talking about, ain't really seeing him. And they got a decent offensive coordinator there. They got some pieces, and they need just that coach that can put it together. They've been trying for what, about how many years, fellas?
Ever,
Right.
really. I mean,
Exactly.
honestly,
And I think it was either last week or the week before. I think we had a guest, and you were saying how like they're having issues getting people to come to the game.
oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the Chargers are second to the Rams. Really, if the city loves the Rams, they don't care
City,
much about
Right.
the Chargers.
share. Yeah,
Well, it might change.
yeah, and that's the thing with that situation. But yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh. I think that was a smart move to go back to NFL. Obviously he's done what he's done in Michigan. I mean, you said in fact winning the national championship. I think that success cannot be duplicated, especially now the current climate of college football. And then I think they were going to drop the hammer on him. If he would have
Oh,
came back. So I look at
Well,
those
that could
kind
have
of
been. You're
on the
right.
factors, yeah, because I'm thinking, yeah, they were gonna probably drop the hammer on him potentially. So it just makes the best sense. Almost kind of like the Pete Carroll kind of exit strategy in a sense when he went
right.
to Seattle. But I do like this move. What's so funny? This move kind of reminded me of kind of when he went from Stanford to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember San Francisco, that was a team you think about. They had like Mike Nolan, with Jim what's the linebacker for the Bears? Mike Singletary and like Jim
Yeah.
Tonsula. Remember how those teams,
Oh
those
yeah.
San Francisco teams were talented. They had that. They had like the Alex Smith,
Mm-hmm.
Frank Gore. What's my boy Vernon Davis? They had a team. Patrick Willis. They had some good players on that team, and it kind of reminded me of how this Chargers team, like in a sense, for as far as the cupboard isn't bare. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, you look at it from a situation where I think he'll help this roster because this is probably out of all the coaching vacancies, I think we can all say that this is by far the best roster that had a coach vacancy in this cycle. So I think him coming over here and being a difference maker because it's almost similar. Like I think you had an impact just like you did in San Francisco. Not saying he'll go to the AFC Championship game 3 times or what have you, but I definitely think he'll have a situation where they have a winning environment. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a situation that win is going to equate to having butts and seats, but this Chargers team will be successful. I think, with him being at the helm. So I definitely love this move for the Chargers for sure. It's a slam dunk pick for the Chargers. They finally got a leader. Yep. So we got.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Tennessee Titans have officially named Brian Callahan as the coach of the Tennessee Titans. Brian Callahan was a former offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he had a cup of coffee and a few dinners in Denver. And, said wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator. He's yeah, that's right. Then also, no, that's somebody else. So yeah, but he was with the Broncos and also with the Lions. He was their quarterback coach with the Lions as well. Jordan, I'm going to you first. What are your thoughts on the Titans hiring Brian Callahan?
The thing about it is you needed something to change that culture. You went with defensive guy, and now you have an offensive guy. The problem is though with Callahan is we saw what kind of offense he did with Joe Burrow and when he was injured. The question is, can he do that with the Tennessee Titans? We've seen so many offensive coordinators just fail. Yes, he has a great offense, but you need to build an offensive system around him. I saw it with the Denver Broncos with Nathaniel Hackett. It's the same kind of move. Great offensive guy, couldn't get it done in Denver. Can he do that in Tennessee? It all becomes in the draft and what they do in free agency. because they do have a pretty good roster. Just the question is what can he do to make that team even better?
Yeah. What you got, Malvin?
Basically, the stuff that I looked at today, this was probably the one coach that everybody was kind of like, you mean to tell me you fired a coach that basically had, that was what, 3 4 years ago, was coach of the year, that was
Mm-hmm.
consistently, it was more plus. You get rid of him. That was like, you didn't get anything for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, that was just interesting to me. And it's like, and then they just hired a GM, right, or a president. Was it last season or season before?
Yeah. Rand Carthon. Yeah,
And
he
they
was.
was,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and they said by doing that, that should have been the first thing. I think they, from what I saw today, the information I got, they was like they were bumping heads, and so the owner just picked. Well, I just hired him, so I might as well just let you go. We rebuilding anyway. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I mean, uh, I don't know. Uh, Sometimes I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when you're rebuilding, you do better with a defensive coach for some reason. Like, I think defense kind of pump people up a little bit. Like, what I mean, once we try to take the coach, I mean, you losing this coach, and you losing Derrick Henry. That he's leaving,
Yeah.
right?
Pretty
So
much.
like
I
when
believe
you think of the
so.
Titans, the last years, that's who I think of is him. Now he's going in, and the coach is going like what? It's like it's interesting. Like, do you think? I don't know. I also feel like they might have um they might, I don't know. I think it's a culture dealing with Bill Belichick. It seemed like to me they're trying to get rid of. You know what I mean? To me, it seemed like, okay, yeah, we need to push that style out of the game right now. Yeah, that's just me though.
Well,
Yeah.
it is interesting that Bill hasn't even gotten any call. I mean, he's gotten interviews, but not even signed anything. I think it's very interesting. I think Bill, you're right. I think they're getting away from his style. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like Brian Callahan, it's a very interesting hire. I'm not surprised because obviously I
Mhm.
think you guys talked about as far as with Amy Strunk, like she pretty much wanted a new voice, and
Mhm.
you bring in a guy, especially in his caliber, a guy that's he'll be 40 in June, so a young guy, and like you said, and that'll be someone with it usher in, and you want to see what he'll do like with Will Levis. Like I said, we talked about as far as like what he's done with Joe Burrow, and then also with Jake Browning in his absence. So you're kind of curious as to see what he's going to do. He's been around. I think he's, like I say, he was a quarterbacks coach in Detroit a few years ago. So it's kind of one of those where they're in the midst of a rebuild. So I think it's one of those things where it's like you're going to see, obviously, Ryan Tannehill's going to be gone. Derrick Henry's going to be gone. So I'm really curious how this all going to work out with it. Where it's like because normally it's the backwards approach where Rand Carthon should have, they should be all locked and step from day one. But that's how But we know how that is now with the NFL. Like I say this all the time ad nauseum. That's how it's supposed to start, but it kind of did it in the inverse. So it's gonna be interesting what he's gonna cook up in Tennessee. But yeah, and yeah, I was still shocked about the whole Mike Vrabel thing as well too. But they want a new voice, and they definitely got a new voice in Brian Callahan. So. Carolina Panthers, surprisingly today, hired Dave Canellis. Um, he's a former Bucks offensive coordinator. He also was he had almost pretty much like almost a 15 more year stint. Well, in not 15 years, probably about 12, 13 year stint in Seattle. We had positions as wide receiver coach, pass game coordinator, also quarterbacks coach as well. So, your thoughts on Dave Canellis being the coach of the Carolina Panthers? What you got, Jordan?
It really surprised me that Carolina would do that just because they went with Frank Reich last year, the year before, and now you go with this guy. But the thing is I even talked to one of our colleagues, Jennifer Matthews Lewis, to see what she thought, and she basically said, "Well, he turned Baker Mayfield around. Maybe he can do the same with Carolina." So they're just going with an offensive guy, and hopefully, he can help Bryce Young down there and become a better team. But then again, I mean, Carolina has whiffed so many times. It's probably one of the worst run franchises out there.
Yeah. What you got, man? What's your thoughts?
Well, when the information I had seen today and what I was studying on, it said that he's part of the reason why Geno Smith was able to turn his career around, and Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? What you dealing with? I think Geno had some mental stuff, but I think Pete and this guy must have helped him with that. And then Baker, the humbleness and teaching him how to really be a leader, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like, so I think that's one of the reasons why. Like, I don't know if the guy is going to be successful, but I think it's either it's winning games, but it's also to help Bryce Young. You know what I'm saying? To get him. He's a small quarterback. That's the main thing they say, small quarterback. But let me ask you guys a question. Y'all are experts. Is his arm better than Kyle Murray's? Or just as good?
Ooh, Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got a good arm. I mean, I don't know, as far as it better than Kyler, I don't.
He does have a good arm.
He got a good arm.
So if that's the case, then he can have some type of success. They're about the same height. You know what I mean? I looked up height. So, Baker Mayfield is 6'1", then he's probably really 5'11". You know what I mean? So, what's the name? Kyle and Bryce are both 5'10", so they're probably 5'9". You know what I mean? So it's just gonna be interesting. Like the guy had some type of success, and I think out of all these coaches that they were looking at, but then you got to have a certain type of coach too, because he may not be there long. This owner likes to fire coaches if he don't get what he wants.
Well, that's true. And if you look at, Dave Tepper as an owner, he also needs to build a team around Bryce Young. That's the thing that's people don't understand is you can have, a great quarterback. You can hire, an okay head coach, but where are your playmakers? They traded most of them. And if you don't have anyone around Bryce Young, how are you going to succeed on offense?
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with this move. I think what's going to maybe help him, Dave Canales, is probably them hiring Dan Morgan as the general manager. I think that's going to definitely help with that because obviously he's beloved in Carolina. He's, I mean, I wouldn't say he's like, I'm not saying he's like Sam Mills, a third type loved or like Cam Newton loved, but people respect Dan Morgan in Carolina. So the thing is, like you said, like we talked about it, like you said about earlier, yeah, he has been instrumental in the success of Baker Mayfield. Also, you look at Geno Smith as well. Then you think about it, and some of it, you think about you even attribute some of that to Russell Wilson as well. And some of his, and some of his stints with Seattle as well. So you look at that too, and like you said, and you're just hoping with the thing with Carolina is, like you said, they have to surround him with playmakers. They got to surround him with something because, like, you got rid of a DJ Moore, essentially, that was at that time was their number one receiver. Then I think what you put in Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was what you say, like the replacement. And then you look at they really never surrounded with somebody. I mean, I know they did okay in the draft. Like I know they drafted with the kid from Ole Miss, Mingo, the wide receiver, which didn't bowl really well per se. As far as we thought his impact could have potentially been. But the thing about it is, like you said, they got to surround him with talent because it's he regardless of whoever the quarterback is, you got to surround him with some elite wide receivers, some good running backs. I know they got the running back last year from Philly. They ended up becoming essentially like a bust. So it's one of those where you're just hoping that like you said, Tepper gives him time, and I'm assuming with bringing in Dan Morgan is going to definitely help this situation. Where I'm hoping that at least let him kind of handle, the situation, and and don't, like you said, be so trigger happy of firing coaches because, like you said, this is another one where it's kind of strange because you fire like a guy like a Frank Wright, and you got rid of all those guys on his staff. In a blink of an eye. So, you're hoping that he'll give them time and put some pieces around Bryce Young because because you think about it, it's like why was he successful in Alabama? Okay, he had he had all the he had all the receivers. He had Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. He had, like we talked about a few weeks ago, he had NFL caliber wide receivers on his team. He had guys on that squad that lifted him to become the Heisman Trophy winner. He had dogs on there, but Carolina, they don't have the cupboard is very empty for its playmakers. So you're hoping that this year that they'll do something in the draft, maybe some free agency, get some stuff, get some guys to help Bryce Young.
When you have, let me question you guys. When you have, I remember when a team, well, a guy bought when did they buy the team? What about 5-6 years ago?
Was like 2017, 18-ish.
Right.
Because I think it was Jerry
Something
Richardson.
that.
God rest his soul, but he was in that Me Too movement type situation that time period, which was like 2017.
So, I mean, when you have, and then like everybody was talking about how they wanted to be the owner, blah blah blah. When you get an owner that's really trying to get over, that comes in, and a lot of times they look at Jerry Jones and the Detroit Lions owner, all these different owners, and think that that's how they have to be. If you was an owner, wouldn't the first thing you do is like get some respectable football staff, not just coach, but I'm saying like to help you really build the team up? And do you feel like he's done that?
100% with you, man. You want somebody who knows football. In Denver, we're trying to do that with the new ownership group, and unfortunately, I haven't been happy with my general manager. You would want somebody in there that knows football, knows how to build a team. There's just not a lot of people out there. That would be where I would start. Is do you have a mind to build? Even if you're an assistant general manager, have you been successful?
Okay.
Yeah, I think, in my personal opinion, he has had the guys, but he hasn't given them an opportunity to do their jobs. I hate to say this out loud. It's almost remind me of he reminds me a lot of Daniel Snyder, where I think he does a lot of meddling, which is very scary. So I think that's the issue where I think if he allows, and that's why I'm hoping, I'm optimistic about the Dan Morgan move, to allow him to just let him do his thing and let him run this organization, albeit fit, and then don't meddle, don't do nothing stupid, don't throw drinks on somebody. Just sit in the box, shut up, let Dan Morgan run the show, and let him do his job. You paying him good money, let him run this organization as fit as he wanted. And then if you got a problem with him, then you just clean house and you go back around. So
appreciate you, Phil. That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, if I feel like if I'm an owner and I'm trying to get in there, change the culture, this and that, okay, this is how I need to do it. When you need to hire these people and let them guide you to be successful. You did what you were supposed to do by getting the team. So you hired me, let me set you up. But somebody said that I seen today, they said NFL, that's not the NFL anymore. They don't have any patience.
Think about it like this. Like, if you, like, I know, like, people say, like, when you buy a Maybach, you got to get a driver.
Right.
So think about it like this. You own a car like that, and people say you need to have a driver, but you get the car, you want to drive it everywhere. Forget the driver. I want to drive the car. I want to have the keys of Ferrari, and I want to drive it. I want to do the same thing. It's just they're billionaires, so of course their ego is inflated. So it's, they're not gonna come across and be like, I should just do it this way. They probably in their mind want to do it, but then they want to be involved too. They want to put their handprints in it because that's just you look with Jerry Jones. Like you said, Jerry Jones is a perfect example. Right. Where it's like, hey, trust me, I want my hands in the cookie jar at all times. I don't care if the cookie jar is full with cookies, crumbs, or whatever. I'm going to put my hands in this cookie jar regardless. Somebody could be putting some hot batch of big dozen cookies. He want to put his hand in that jar.
If I was there, I would say, look, sir, we're in a division that we can win it if we can win 10 games. We may be at least 10 or 11 games. We can win a division. So if we just do it right, he
tell that to Jerry Jones, he gonna throw that sweet tea in your face.
Right. I'm talking about Carolina, and that's what I would tell him. I said, look, I'm telling you, we could just put this together. All we need to win is 11 games. I mean, if you really pay attention the last few years, we won the division. They ain't winning a lot of games, man.
Oh, yeah, man. So, and then our final one is going to be Raheem Morris. Is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Like we said, we thought that was the Bill Belichick, sign seal deliver type of situation. But so obviously Raheem Morris is the former defense coordinator of the LA Rams. Also, he was the interim head coach of the Atlanta Falcons nearly 4 years ago, and he had a 4-7 record in his tenure with the Atlanta Falcons. So, Jordan, Jordan? I want to hear your thoughts about Raheem Morris in Atlanta.
I like Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator, but again, we've seen him already be a head coach with Tampa Bay, where he was not very good. I mean, 17-31, like you said, he was the head coach, interim head coach with the Atlanta Falcons at 4-7. It just makes me wonder if, the ownership group liked him before, they must like him again, and it's just going to be up to him to build that defense. The offense is okay; they have some weapons, but the defense has struggled at times, and that's why they missed the playoffs. They were close this year. Unfortunately, the defense let them down in their last game. Can he build that team to get them to the playoffs? That's the main question. And will Arthur Smith be patient enough? Because we've already seen him not be patient in Atlanta.
Yeah. What you got, Mal? Your thoughts?
I don't know. It seemed like everything I watched today, everybody's excited for him. So, and it seemed like the organization, the players, everybody seemed extremely excited about him going to this team. So that's what I'm gonna build upon. You know what I mean? That's where he wanted to go. I don't know. Like when you deal with a place like Atlanta, you know, it takes a certain type of coach. His culture there, he seems excited. The players, the analysts, everybody seemed excited. So I don't have too much to say. I know he was a coach before, but maybe this time around, things will be different.
Yeah, I mean, I like Raheem. Obviously, he was cornerbacks coach in 2014. So I love Raheem Morris. But like you said, Jordan, I'm iffy on this move because to me, this screamed Bobby Slovic to me. Because to me, I think Atlanta's all they need is they're just a quarterback away from being a potential, because they were in this race in the NFC South almost to the very end. So to me, they should have, their primary focus I thought was going to be like maybe get an offensive centric coach to kind of help that offense, because they have pieces on that offense. Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. So you got guys on that team, and now they just need a quarterback. Right. And I know, Desmond Ridder just not gonna cut it. I mean, bless his heart. I mean, he the backup. So I mean, like I said, they need, like I said, they're a quarterback away from contending in this division. And like you said, and to a point where I definitely thought if it wasn't Belichick, it probably would have been Slovey. I thought it was going to be somebody that's going to come in the 11th hour and snag this job. But it is what it is. I am happy for him. Like you said, I'm rooting for him. But I do look at this as kind of suspect in a sense. I mean, maybe it'll work out this time in Atlanta, hopefully for him. But I think I thought this is more of a situation where they needed somebody offensive situation, because I even thought if they were to get Bill, that they were going to have to get somebody that's like a genius as an offensive coordinator and kind of make him like the coach in waiting potentially. But who would have took that, almost like kind of like what they did with Gerard Mayo in New England, where they was going to make this guy whoever was going to be the heir apparent for Belichick. But obviously that didn't work out. But I'm definitely, I'm happy for him. But it's just somewhat of a head scratching move out of all the coaching hires that we've had, as far as, But
so what teams are left?
Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders.
Y'all getting Bill Belichick, aren't y'all?
Nah, we getting Ben Johnson. probably be Ben Johnson, offense coordinator of the Detroit Lions. It's all signs are pointing to that because essentially they're going to go to Detroit on Monday, and I mean it's pretty much going to be one of those things where I think they're going to do the interview, and I think if Detroit is eliminated, well, it'll be announced probably Tuesday or Wednesday, and if not, it'll just be during Super Bowl week if they make it to Super Bowl. But I don't know who's going to go to Seattle.
There's one guy that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
There's Eric Bieniemy. I mean, he's probably the best offensive, coach out there. The problem is he didn't do that well in Washington for you guys.
Yeah, he had an interview with us this week, so they said it went pretty well. I think they said the interview went pretty well, but I'm curious who's gonna get Seattle because I know at this point Bill Belichick he won't be he's done. I mean, I don't know if this is it for him
because his success as a coach was in New England, and every coach and a coordinator that left New England, the coach did not do well except for Vera.
But I got a caveat: there could be a potentially opening in your division. I'm gonna say this out loud because they said Big Red might let it go. Big Red might let it go after the season. I don't know. Andy Reid.
Oh
yeah. I heard that.
I'm thinking Bieniemy should be his landing spot. That's what I'm really hoping that this potentially happens. Was a swifter transition, but I don't know. I mean, there's rumors out there. That, he's been flirting with retirement. But that
would make a whole lot of sense.
So
Eric Bieniemy landing in Kansas City does make a whole lot of sense. I mean, where he's had his most success as an offensive coordinator. Plus, you already know Patrick Mahomes absolutely loves him, so it would make sense.
Yeah,
we signed Mahomes for all those years too.
Yeah, I think he will, and I think more likely he's probably will end up ultimately going back to Kansas City. I don't know at what capacity. But yeah, I think that I'm interested. And then I guess when you think about Seattle, I'm thinking maybe because I don't think they interviewed Vrabel. I know they're gonna interview Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn might potentially get that job, the defense coordinator for the Lions. So I mean, so it's really one that's kind of the most suspect, not one that's kind of like gonna be interesting and who's gonna be their head coach, or it might be Mike McDonald.
What happened to Leftwich?
That's who. I thought he was gonna go to Pittsburgh. I thought he could be the OC in Pittsburgh. I thought that was gonna be. Right. I thought that was gonna be the immediate move of the offseason. I thought, but I mean, his name still could be around. I mean, because still, guys still kind of getting their staffs together. Like, I mean, I could potentially see him going somewhere. I mean, I don't know, because your boy Jordan. Your boy Vic Fangio got scooped up immediately. I'm like, I found out that he got rid of in Miami, and they talk about going to Philly. I'm like, like, so
it took less than 24 hours.
Yeah, chill, less than 25 minutes.
You think Miami on their way down? You think next year we probably gonna look at them a little differently? I know it's off script, but
I don't know. I mean,
that offense is still pretty good. I mean, the offense is pretty good. The question is, the problem with them, though, is they couldn't beat winning teams. Could they have a drop-off? I mean, yeah, they could, potentially, for sure.
Yeah. And now you're thinking within that division where you look at Aaron Rodgers is coming back in there, so it's another thing where that's going to be a team I think is definitely going to be competitive in there. So it could potentially be a 3-team race. And hell, who knows what New England gonna do, what Gerard Mayo would do in his first year. So, I mean, unless they do something drastic in the offseason, and they're gonna get healthier because obviously, what's the kid from Miami? They got hurt. Jalen Phillips, he'll be back. Chubb, your boy Chubb will be back. I'm sorry, Jordan, to bring up old Broncos, but
hey, it's okay. That's our general manager for you. Just we technically traded Bradley Chubb for Sean Payton, so it's not the worst, right?
You think Chubb gonna be the same with his second time hurting his ACL?
I think he'll be fine. But the question is,
Yeah,
I mean, you look at Von Miller, for instance, he hasn't been the same, but he's still
man,
going to
yeah,
be, I don't think he'll be the same player, but he'll be disruptive because that's what Bradley Chubb
Right,
yeah.
does.
right, all right.
Yeah, so you're hoping that they'll get back at least defensively. Now, as far as offense is going to be the question, and like you said, then it's going to be better teams out there as well, like you said. So now the whole thing is, can they win against winning teams? Well, the only team they beat was like the Cowboys. They had a winning record, and they barely. And if it weren't for Dallas mismanagement of that clock, they would have lost that game. Dallas can't. Dallas gave him that gift. I gave him a Christmas gift the night before Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, matter of fact, I gave him a gift on Christmas Eve. That's like that game was crazy, but yeah. So yeah, man. So we gotta talk about the end of an era that is used to be the institution of sports media. The Sports Illustrated. So the Arena Group. So the Arena Group is the group that publishes Sports Illustrated. They missed their $3.75 million payment to to Sports Illustrated's license holder, Authentic Brand Groups, ABG. And with that missed payment, ABG revoked their deal. And so essentially, as a result of that, employees on Friday was via a Zoom meeting was told the employees of the SI brand was told they were laid off on Friday. Some of the layoffs were immediate, and some are within the next 90 days. And also, they're still holding out some semblance of hope that potentially that this license deal can be resolved. But more than likely, it looks like it's going to be the end of Sports Illustrated. Jordan, your thoughts on the end of an institution, man?
It honestly sucks because funny, I got a subscription that my fiance bought me for Christmas. Of course, we didn't know this was all going on. The thing about Sports
Yeah.
Illustrated is that I love their articles. I mean, there was one that I remember Chauncey Billups that when he was playing high school basketball. If you don't know Colorado, Grand Junction, Colorado. He was playing in Grand Junction, Colorado, and it's a predominantly white community, and he was getting harassed the whole game. So I thought that was pretty interesting to hear his side of it. I love their articles. The problem was the print was so small. It was hard to really read, but their articles were awesome. And unfortunately, it is a sad thing to see Sports Illustrated go the wayside. I know when I had it before, I was so excited to get the articles, see who they were interviewing, what even like the NCAA tournament, what their bracket was. It is kind of sad to see it gone. I think honestly though, what'd be good for them to if they're going to rebrand, just do it all online because that's where it's headed anyway. I don't know many people who just get pure magazines anymore, but they have to figure out how to use new social media.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Mel?
Man, this was sad. Now, I'm not like you guys, as you know, but I understand when people love something like you guys do. And when I sat there and watched all that, I'm thinking about Michael Jordan, North Carolina, when they did an article with him, the Balco issue, all these different issues of stuff that's extremely important to sports, like in detail, highly respected. Yeah, we got podcasts, yeah, we got blogs, but we still was like, man, that there's a standard. You know what I'm saying? It's like looking at a family member that like this guy dressed really nice. He always dressed very successful. You know what I mean? I just can't do that. And then I'm hearing what the issue is. The lady was talking about a union. They're trying to dismantle a union. One company owns it, but then they really didn't know what to do with it. So they sold it to a third party, and that third party basically bought the licensing of it and was selling like certain parts of it to certain people. And you know what I mean? And I was like, almost like they was renting Sports Illustrated. So then I went on YouTube and I saw first thing came up was the swimsuit edition, right? Almost 2 million subscribers. So then I went to exactly Sports Illustrated. They don't even have 500,000. They have like 457,000. And I was like, so this was an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like your subscription, this should be like 3 million or something like that. It's Sports Illustrated. I'm hoping that somebody who understands it, who has the money, who's in that field or has a parent company and grab it, maybe do reboot it, maybe put some stuff online. But I still think they need to put the magazine because that's the culture. I don't think I think you still do the new, but you still because we still I mean you guys are still sports fanatics and you still can have put those pictures and hang it on your wall and that's important. That's important. But
Oh,
we understand the younger
for sure.
generation, you got to bridge the gap. We understand the younger generation, they're going to do everything online, but you can't forget about our demographic. You know what I mean? This really sucks. It really do. You remember when that ball code article came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny that we're doing this on a Thursday, and it's so weird because you think to yourself, as me being a millennial, I remember I was a SI subscriber, I think from like 1997 and maybe like 2010. Like, so I was, from being in the seventh grade in middle school to almost a 30-year-old man at the time. And you think to yourself, wow, and that anticipation, you get it on a Thursday, you get the article, you get the magazine in your hand. And it's just like you said, it's kind of one of those things where, especially now, I look at it. People look forward to the weekend. That was like kind of like my weekend thing. Okay, I'm getting new cover Sports Illustrated. And
Right.
in that time, it was a little bit different because we didn't have the internet like per se. At that time, as far as like when I think about like my middle school, high school days, the internet was around, but it's not like how it is now, where
Mhm.
we got some of our news stories from
Yeah.
from Sports Illustrated. Like you said, the covers were great. It just you just love. I like you said, the face in the crowd. I love that segment. It just shows you like who's that, who's that up and coming person. Because I always thought to myself, oh, I'm gonna be faces in the crowd because
Right.
that you think to yourself like who's up and coming. That's where you see face in the crowd, and then you just look at and then I used to love the NFL preview. I think the last time I
Okay.
got the NFL preview was in 2019. I had to go to 3 grocery stores. I finally found it, and I found the Sports Illustrated in NFL preview, and that was in 2019. And I don't know if I still got it or not, but I'm a pack rat, so I got stuff in tote, so it's probably
Right.
somewhere in my mama house. But yeah, and like you say, I always look forward to those previews, and like you said, especially as you brought up now with the swimsuit edition. Of course, at the time as a young man experiencing puberty, it was it was something that was a nice addition to have on a
Yo.
yearly basis. Hey, I mean, hey, this is what you tell
Hey,
this is what millennial boys was doing in the turn of the century. Okay,
no wonder
so
they got 2 million subscribers. Man. But the
yeah,
lady,
I mean.
one more thing, the lady, it really, those guys, they're real journalists. You know what I mean? Like they really like.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys are real journalists too, if y'all had the opportunity, y'all be like, man, hell yeah, like y'all gonna jump on it. She said they
Yeah.
might be talking about having subcontractors, like you know what I mean. I was
And
like,
AI, yeah, AI,
yeah,
like
and then like the
yeah,
company,
right,
that licensed to it was put articles out, and they use artificial
yeah,
intelligence, and I was
yeah.
like,
What?
and
I seen
that's
that.
part of the issue.
That's,
Whereas
wow.
you gave it to a company that said, "Man, we don't know what this name means." Sports Illustrated, like, what
Right.
is it really supposed to mean? You know what I mean? That's like going to a town and it's a landmark restaurant there. It means something. They want fresh tomato sauce because that's where you know what I mean. Like that's why it's there because you know what you're gonna get. You gotta have a place that you can go to that you know for a fact
Hmm.
that their standard and their integrity means something. And you mean to tell me that
Oh,
you let
I know. I was thinking to
Sports
myself,
Illustrated made artificial intelligence made
Wow.
up the journalists' names?
eh,
That is
hey,
crazy.
that's a sin. And I
It
seen that. I was like, I've never seen writing them things. No, I was
That's
like AI.
crazy.
I was like, oh, come on, dude. Y'all talking about Al Navison, right? Not
That's crazy.
artificial intelligence, right?
And then
My
the
gosh.
company basically they one dude, I think he is a part of the company. He is the founder of the 5 hour energy. So they said they really just selling a lot of merch and a lot of, supplements.
Yeah, man. Sucks, man. Yeah, man. Sports Illustrated. I had it because I had it for like a little about 10, a little about 13, 14, about 12, 13 years. Yep, I had it. The son like it was like 25 or 26. So I got it like because it's funny because I originally got it. So my uncle got you remember and we used to get sports illustrated, you have it like they'll give you like some type of gift. Like this one was like the Chicago Bulls
Oh
championship
yeah.
basketball. So that got it started with 96, 97, and then I just kept on renewing every year. Ever
Right.
Up until maybe like 2010. I think, once so it was about good 13-year run. Yep, and then
I think somebody
remember
gonna buy it though.
yeah,
I think somebody gonna get it, bro. I think somebody gonna get it because
yeah.
it's a stellar. It's just like sometimes things and we overlook it. Like really, never thought that would happen, and I'm hoping that
Yeah.
somebody go get it, man.
Yeah, like you said, it depends, and like you said, it depends on who's the decision makers. Because like you said, if it's a Gen X, they can care less.
Yeah.
But like you said, maybe
Mhm.
if you're hoping maybe Gen X or a millennial buy it, then they can maybe at least see somewhat the sentimental value of it, or
Right.
the value of it. But yeah, man, I was like, damn, man, I was like, it's like my childhood is ruined
I mean,
all over
it's
again.
crazy, man.
I know I'm almost 40, but damn, I didn't want to let this go.
Yeah, and then like just the fact that we're in 2024 and you trying to tell me they don't have like you don't have to be on. You can use social media to help your company out. Like you can go
Yeah.
on Twitter
Mhm.
and say blue 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 blue. You know what I'm saying? And then people will go buy the magazine because they want to see this major article that's about to come out. Or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know, LeBron, go buy it because if it wasn't for the Sports Illustrated, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, because but now and I think about it because the article that he had when he went back to Cleveland. Now I'm thinking to myself, then that ushered into like the Players Tribune, that ushered in other stuff, and it's just
Right.
like I was like, yeah, it's we, it's kind of one of the things where it's like, yeah, you kind of, like you said, if they were going to be in the same kind of stratosphere, it was
Right.
going to end. Like you said, it this that and it didn't evolve the way I think a lot of people thought it was going to be because they still do stuff digital wise,
Right.
but but yeah, man, it's a
Just remember, this happened to Apple, and then they brung anyway. Let me shut up.
hey, they bring somebody, man. If I had a little money, I help you, but
I tell you, this is '89. I'm just kidding.
I'm yeah, oh yeah, and shout out to Tyra Banks, man.
Right.
I think that was a '97 cover of the swimsuit edition. So shout out to her.
Mm.
Yeah, hey, that's what happened when you're 13-year-old boy. So so we'll switch gears. We'll talk a little NFL. So fellas, we had a great divisional round this past weekend. So I just wanted to go around the horn, just you guys' thoughts on last week's action, just some brief takeaways of the weekend that was in the NFL last weekend. I'm gonna go with you first, Jordan. What you got?
Well, we know the Lions are for real. They've proven it 2 weeks in a row. You look at the San Francisco 49ers. They could have lost that game, found a way to win because Jordan Love threw a pick. In Kansas City, a chance for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, all the talk was that Patrick Mahomes is going on the road for the first time in his NFL career in the playoffs. What does he do? He still wins because Tyler Bass can't make a field goal. Of course, the Ravens are the dominant team as we knew in the regular season. They showed it against the Texans.
Yeah. What you got? What's your takeaways this weekend, Mal? What you got?
Jordan, don't be just blaming Tyler. It was a fake punt that was an issue. It was people dropping balls.
Hey,
That fake punt, I still don't understand.
Look, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm trying to make it up. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it to the heaven. I'm not. No. I ain't talking about DH tonight. I am not talking about him. Oh hell no.
Okay.
We can talk about it, but I ain't saying nothing. You can say what you gotta say, but
So
I'm trying to go to heaven.
I really wanted Green Bay to win because I liked how they were playing. I think that they should have been a little more physical because I said last week I picked them to win, and I said I don't feel like 49ers are the same without Debo. Debo gets hurt, he's out the game. So I felt like the Jordan Love played with so much poise, and until the end of the game, he just lost his poise. Like that pick, like he was, throw the ball away. He was doing a lot of stuff that he seemed so mature, and he just lost it. You know what I mean? And end up throwing a pick like he was. It's funny. It was like he was really trying to be like Patrick Mahomes. Like, why would you throw a ball against your chest, like from your chest area to like where 3 defenders is on one player? That didn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? But and then Kansas City. I think Kansas City did what they're supposed to do. They're not as good as the Bills. The Bills is definitely better, but the Bills had way more pressure on them than Kansas City did. Kansas City had less talent, and their quarterback was poised. He had complete control of the game the whole game. Like I seen him take the ball, feint, make one step, and fake the hell out of dude and got like 3 yards. You know what I mean? Like you could just see Patrick Mahomes was so cool and collected the whole game. They did what they usually do for the Chiefs, though. It's always holding or play a pass interference that you be like, what? You know what I mean? Like, are you serious? And then you know what I mean? And then they throw the flag. They do it every game. But I knew Kansas City was going to win. They were supposed to win that game to me. I think they were just a better team. Clearly, again, the fake punt, Diggs. Diggs not even, you know what I'm saying? And what else? It was another play that was like, what? Oh, they got called out. It was a dude right in front of him that he could have threw the ball to, but he wanted to gunsling it and throw it all the way to the touchdown. And I don't even think he got it all the way there. Like, I was saying that too. I was like, he's sure running the ball a lot. But like I always say, when you have somebody that's running the ball consistently, eventually you're gonna have to pop him. And he got popped in like the 3rd quarter, or and it changed up because didn't he fumble? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just really all. If you really pay attention, it was like the Bills was just going downhill. But yeah, man, great games.
Yeah. Rudy Tom Jonathan said it best. Don't underestimate the heart of a champion. The Kansas City just came out blistering. I like it's one of those where it's like, even though the Bills kind of had the control for the majority of the game, but they was able to kind of persevere. And Patrick Mahomes dashing through the barrage of snowballs at the end of the game was just amazing. Like it almost adds to the folklore of like the hatred of Patrick Mahomes in some locales. Maybe in that Colorado area as well too can have that hate. And then you look at, like you said, the Bills. It is when it's like as far as their windows closing, it's almost weird where it's almost like, will they be going, are they going to be like the 90s Bills where they went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost? Could next year be a situation where they go to 4 consecutive divisional games and lose 4 consecutive times? It could literally happen to that as well. Man, to be a fly on the wall in the locker room in Baltimore, when Lamar Jackson, went off in the locker room when they were tied 10-10, and then obviously they scored 24 straight points to win the game 34-10. And like you said, Green Bay, I think the future is bright. I think, Jordan Love has proven to me, like, I think he could do his thing, and, he just fell a little bit short, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But shout out to them. And like you said, Detroit is the Cinderella of the ball, and you're hoping, hoping they don't get the Cinderella story doesn't end in Santa Clara. Hopefully they will have a slipper at midnight, and if they don't, then Benny's coming home to Washington. Let me chill out. But anyway,
Detroit. Just Detroit, run out, go get Eminem and come out to lose yourself. It's over with. I'm telling you, they're not losing if he do that.
Say that for Vegas.
For sure, especially if they get
say that for Vegas. If you go, boy, that's gonna be almost like when the Patriots, when they came out as a team in their first Super Bowl in 2022. That would be like that. Then that would be next. That would be huge if they do that. But yeah, say that to Vegas if you get there. So now we definitely got to talk about our NFC Championship picks, man. And then we got to the final four. So, fellas, I'm gonna go around the horn first. I'm gonna go with you first, Jordan. Your thoughts on the Chiefs versus Ravens and who you got?
This is honestly, you couldn't have asked for a better matchup. You got Patrick Mahomes and you got Lamar Jackson. I look at the defenses, which ones to step up, and I feel like this is going to be a close game. The Ravens, as we saw in the hold it together, like you were talking about, 24, straight points, didn't allow the Texans to do anything on offense. I think the defense is going to be the difference for the Ravens, so I'm going with ball.
You say you're going with who? I think you broke up, but I know you probably. I just wanted to confirm it. The audio broke up.
He frozen.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. You said Ravens, right, Jordan? Because I know your audio kind of froze. All right. Well, I'm gonna go with you first. I'm gonna go with you next, man. What you got? Who you got? Your thoughts on this matchup? Who you got?
I'm going with the Lions.
We talk about Kansas City.
Kansas City. I'm going with the Ravens. I'm
Okay.
definitely going with the Ravens. I felt like the issue for the last few years has always been the Ravens defense. Wasn't the Ravens defense, and I think they got a defense now that's growing and building its confidence up, and it's to the point where a lot of those old Ravens, legendary Ravens, are starting to come. And they putting that culture and speaking of those things, say, hey, man, you know where you at right now and what y'all got. You know what I mean? You can have something real special. This is a big opportunity you don't get all the time. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm picking the Ravens.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. Obviously, you're bringing in arguably the two best defensive teams in the NFL with the Ravens and them. It's kind of one of the things where it's like I just seen how good they played. I can't see it play so good on the road last week against Buffalo. I know that the Ravens are going to try to throw the kitchen sink at Patrick Mahomes, but throwing the kitchen sink at Patrick Mahomes is deadly. I mean, we know Tampa Bay did a fantastic job 3 years ago in the Super Bowl, but that's a very interesting proposition, man. And it's just one of those where I definitely, I think the Chiefs are gonna win. I think they can pull this one out in Baltimore. It's gonna be very, very interesting.
I think you just take him. Be physical with Kelsey, like really be physical with Kelsey. Like you know what I mean? Like I think, spy on Mahomes, but definitely, man, be physical. And because he didn't get Kelsey out the game because Tyreek ain't there.
Yeah, it's going. I don't know. It's something, and this is where, and that's why like this whole run with the Kansas City Chiefs has been very interesting in the 6 times they've been in the AFC Championship game. Because every year it's like you can throw the analysis out the window because we can say, oh well, they need to control the turnover battle, but then they'll throw weird turnovers and like they'll still win the football game. They have won games in very uncanny fashion when we think about from like when it looks like what you think is the as far as the gold standard of how to win football games in January, and they've kind of debunked that, and it's very weird like how this happened. So I if it's just like gun to my head pick, I think the Chiefs gonna win. So
being biased.
No, actually, I really want the Ravens to win because the Chiefs are annoying. but I have a suspect feeling that they're gonna pull this off. I don't know for some odd reason because I almost feel like. You said Jordan.
So that's the problem with Kansas City is you never know what you're going to get, especially on the road. I thought they were going to lose to Buffalo. Well, of
Me
course
too.
they didn't. The thing is, though, is against Kansas City. But again, I just think Baltimore at home, you've got that going for you. That crowd's going to be into it. There's just something about Baltimore that tells me they're going to win. But then again, you can't count out Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's the thing with him. He's the ultimate deodorant. It's like he clears up everything. You can have the most stinkiest underpits, but Patrick Mahomes covers all that. And that's the crazy thing about all this, where he covers up all that miscues, especially in this 6-year run that he's been in AFC Championship game. So, like you said, it's so bizarre. Now they're on the road too. This is another one where an AFC Championship game is on the road, so it's kind of like this uncharted territory. But like you said, I just can never count out Patrick Mahomes in this circumstance.
Yeah, they're the new Patriots. I hear it. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they are that annoying.
Yeah.
And it's the fan base and all the popping circumstance that comes with it. Like you said, Jordan, I would love this because I don't want these next 2 weeks. I don't want to be a travel agent because I know Taylor Swift got a show on February the 10th and she's gonna make it to Las Vegas. I don't want. I'm not trying to be a travel agent in these next 2 weeks and trying to figure out the logistics of her being able to go from one continent to the other. Trust me, I want to talk about football in these next 14 days. When Super week. Their Super Bowl week. So trust me, I don't want to talk about how she's going to get here and adjust it to Las Vegas. Trust me, I want the Ravens to win, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Trust me, I want them to win. I want the Ravens to win. America wants the Ravens to win. So we got to talk about the NFC Championship, and we got the Detroit Lions versus San Francisco 49ers. Jordan, man, who you got?
I really love to pick the Lions because of their defense, and I like their offense. But you're going to San Francisco. The question for the Lions defense, though, is containing Christian McCaffrey. And I think if you can control the clock, if you're the 49ers, that will not allow Jared Goff and that offense to get anything going. It's going to be a close game, but I'm going with the San Francisco. I think the Cinderella story ends here.
All right. What you got, Maui?
I'm going with the Lions.
Okay, Detroit Lions. Okay.
I think I'm still sticking with the same thing, man. Like, is Debo playing? I think he's out, right?
He practiced today.
He did?
So, yeah.
So I think he's in.
He probably
I'll at least give it a go.
Yeah, give it a go. Yeah.
I think I'm just going with the Lions. I think they're gonna keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? I think they right there. Complete team, fight hard, you know what I mean? I think they still kind of shocked where they're at, but I believe they're better than what they really they're just starting to realize how good they really are and where they can go.
Yeah. Yeah, and correction, Debo was limited in practice today, so he missed Wednesday, so he limited. So, like you said, it probably a situation where he's at least give it a go. It might be a game time decision at this point. Right. This could be a situation we'll monitor. This is going to be a really interesting game. You look at obviously, one of the best offenses in the league in the Detroit Lions versus one of the best defenses in the San Francisco 49ers. I think one of the keys that the Lions would have win this game is, like you said, Detroit offense got to stay on the field. Surprisingly, we would look at as far as from a defensive standpoint. I didn't realize this until the other day. San Francisco is terrible on third down defense. I didn't know that, and it's like it's one of the things where it's like if they're able to keep drives going. That's going to definitely bode well for the Detroit Lions. And then, them having an opportunity, they're probably one of the best teams if they get the ball in the red zone. So you really want to kind of contain them in the end zone and also get them, get them off the field on third down and kind of shorten their drives so you won't tire out your defense. And that's like their calling card, I think, in my personal opinion, is their defense in the sense that obviously you still have those capabilities of, Brock Purdy and Ayuk and Debo, Christian McCaffrey as well. Definitely want to see how Aaron Glenn is going to drop that defense against that. It's like as far as will he have a situation where that's concerned. I think I'm a roll with my preseason pick. So I'm gonna have the San Francisco 49ers win this game. But a part of me, it's like head versus heart. A part of me is like my brain tells me the most logical part of my body tells me I think San Francisco win this game, but the emotional part of my body, the heart, I want the Detroit Lions. I want history. I want a team like the Detroit Lions to make it to the Super Bowl for the first time in their history. And I would love that story, and that would be arguably the biggest storyline heading into Super Bowl weekend. So Super Bowl week. So head versus heart. I think I got San Francisco. But yeah, I would love that story for Detroit. If I'm wrong, I would love to be wrong in this stature at this point. So. Fellas, we'll go and give our game ball this week. I'm gonna go around the horn, fellas. Jordan, who's your game ball this week?
Well, the Baseball Hall of Fame voters finally got it right. Todd Helton, on his sixth time on the ballot, finally got into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A great, moment here in Colorado. He is the best player to play for the Colorado Rockies, and I don't think you can write MLB history without Colorado Rockies history, averaging .316 during his career. I know that isn't great. Hit 369 home runs, but he had 592 doubles. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. The doubles are 20th all time. So, again, congratulations to Helton finally getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame. We don't have to hear about the Coors Field effect for people who are falling short of the Baseball Hall of Fame if they are Rockies players.
Facts. Now, who's your game ball this week?
I got two, man. So just give me a little bit of time. My game ball goes to the Dwayne The Rock Johnson and the TKO Group. Johnson and Groupon's co-founder Brad Keywell joined the company board of directors, where they just merged with to do a big deal with WWE and UFC to Netflix. It is a $5 billion deal. It starts in 2025 after WWE and their media company and Comcast group will end after this year. The Rock, because of that, The Rock was able to buy his trademark, the name Rock. It's really a big deal because of where he comes from. His father was the high chief. His grandfather was the high chief, and I was told he couldn't do certain things. He ended up owning his own wrestling company. He was a stunt coordinator and stuntman and acted in a lot of 007 movies. And then Dwayne's father, Rocky Johnson, was the very first African American tag team champion. And for him to actually be now on the board of WWE, this is really, really big. You know what I mean? Like he said, it's like full circle. So shout out to them. Just get ready. I guess our Netflix is about to go up again.
For sure.
And the second game ball goes to my brother, who is definitely the head player of development at New Mexico women's basketball team. They beat the number 25 ranked UNLV a couple days ago. They won by 3 points. Where I want to mess her name up. But anyway, it was a back and forth game. They had UNLV basically hasn't lost in the Mountain West division in like two years, and this was a big win. 66-69. Number 33 shot the ball with 5 seconds left. Well, 7 seconds left, and then made the 3-pointer with 5.7 seconds left and won the game. UNLV had 22 rebounds. Out rebounded them. New Mexico, but New Mexico had 26 points in the paint. Very exciting game, and shout out to them, man. They're doing really, really well. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Keep going.
Yes, indeed. So my game ball, well, I guess we'll stay in women's basketball. So definitely gotta give a huge shout out to Tara Vanderveer, the Stanford head coach. She's now the all-time winningest head coach in NCAA basketball, men's
Wow.
and women's. With
Wow.
she got her 1,203rd victory against Oregon State, 65-56 on Sunday. So she has more wins from that guy from Raleigh. So definitely huge shout out to Coach Vanderveer. Obviously, just a very decorated career, over almost 50 years coaching. Obviously, the head coach at Stanford now, the head coach of the U.S. women's team in 1996 that won the gold medal in Atlanta. So, yeah, man, definitely huge shout out to her, and I'm glad she was able to beat the record that guy from Raleigh. So hey, got more wins from the guy from Raleigh. You definitely get a game out here on Couch Coach Live. So, but in all seriousness, shout out to Coach K. But final thoughts before we head on out, Jordan. What you got? Final thoughts and anything you want to promote? Anything you got going on?
It's just going to be a great weekend of football. I'm excited for it. I'm just hoping for close games. Nobody wants a blowout in the title game. You can follow me at Twitter at SportsScoop1. Read my blogs that I write Mondays through Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
Yes, indeed. What you got, Maui?
Great show, man. It's good seeing you, Jordan.
Good seeing you too,
yeah, I'm
man.
really excited too, man. I'm really excited, man, to see if this was going to be, that year that Lamar can truly put his middle finger up and say, 32. Well, he was drafted 32, right?
Yeah,
but I'm excited for this weekend of football also, and whatever else happens in sports, because it's always something. That's why we got to have Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, man. Once again, another great show. Definitely appreciate you, Jordan, for coming on tonight. So obviously, social media wise, pretty much Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. Check out the website, couchcoachlive.com. The website there. Yeah, man. And also social media, what's that social media, but YouTube page, Couch Coach Live. And so if you're ever on these internet streets and you're on TMZ and the headline is Kristen Juszczyk designs NFL wags, including Taylor Swift, you'll probably have a comment that says, "Who cares?" Sportscoops.com. So, every time I see it, I swear I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna hit like the laugh button." It's hilarious. It's like, "Who cares?" Sportscoop.com.
Yeah, yeah, that's me.
So if you ever see those insignificant sports topics that come up on like TMZ Sports and all across these internet streets, you'll have the fancy marketing of Jordan Long and on your comments. So let's be ready for that. So we'll put a bow on tonight's show, and and like you said, we're looking forward to the AFC Championship games, and like you said, AFC and NFC Championship games. We'll find out who's going to Super Bowl 58. And man, great weekend in sports, and we'll catch you guys next week. This has been this week's Couch Coach Live, and we're out.
You're welcome.